Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I am scrapping my final layout as a design team member at Confessions of a Paper Addict, and I'm scrapping a photo of all of us girls that have been on the design team for the last 6 months. I've been on the team for a year and it has truly been an amazing experience, but I felt that it was time to step down to let someone else have a turn, and yeah, so I wanted to make this layout as a tribute really to the wonderful people that I've met. And so I'm using the Unforgettable collection by Cocoa Vanilla, which I think is quite appropriate because it has been an unforgettable experience. And I'm using the Wonky Hearts cut file. There's two Wonky Heart cut files. One is a background cut file and the other one is this cut file. And to be a bit different with it, I decided to use the negative pieces of paper. So most people would probably cut this, and the bit that I'm pulling off the mat, they would back this with pattern paper, I believe, and create a layout. But I decided to use that piece there as a stencil. And then what I wanted to do, and the reason I did this and not to use the background cut file, is because I wanted all of those hearts to be separate from each other so that I could pop them up on some foam. So here I'm just auditioning some of the papers that I pulled from the collection. I have chosen that sort of artsy mixed media-y type paper on purpose because I wanted one pattern that would look really good cut separately and would go together rather than a solid pattern or the same kind of pattern, if that makes sense. So what my intention is, and what I do, is to back every single heart with, not back, to put some foam onto every single heart and then place them through the stencil as you may, or under, like you're seeing there, so that when it's finished you'll just see all the hearts without any of the rest. So probably is not a very good explanation of what I'm doing, but you'll see. And I do, I think, 3 or 4 hearts, and then the rest I do off camera because it's basically the same process. And I did think about using some washi tape to hold the stencil down, but I'm glad I didn't do that because I've found lately that washi will leave a mark on my paper if I leave it on for too long. So I just put a YouTube video on, probably scrapbooking, and just went about doing this. So I tried to use craft foam on the larger hearts and then these Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, and I've got the really small ones there that you can see, and I've also got some large ones, and the process actually went quite quick. You can see here I'm up to the last one, so I'm placing it down, and then the next part of the process is to lift off the stencil, and I didn't want to go too fast, or I was actually really careful with the stencil, or the positive part of the cut file, because I know that I'm definitely going to use it on another layout. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not going to use it straight away, just because I don't really want the two layouts next to each other in my Instagram feed, you know, because we care about things like that. But yeah, you get what I mean. So I probably should have trimmed that off with my trimmer, the branding strip, before I started, but I didn't. So I just use my scissors, which I know some people do all the time, but I get a bit nervous doing it, but it turned out fine. Sometimes it's really hard when you have a perfectionist type of personality. So here is the what size is that, 8 by 6 or 8 by 4? 8 by 6 paper stack, and I'm just going through, I'm showing you all of the papers on purpose, but I'm wanting to pull some papers out that I can back my photo with, obviously not the cut apart sheet, but what I'm wanting is papers that are complementary and not too busy to the pattern paper that I've used for the hearts. And I'm using some Nuvo, I can't remember the name of it, but the latest Nuvo adhesive. Now, in case you're wondering, because if you follow my channel, you know I've used and tried quite a lot of adhesive lately. I love the Nuvo. What I will say is it isn't as quick drying as, for example, Tombow or even that fine liner bottle that I've been using, or fine liner pen. But it is really good. So it doesn't clog. I'm definitely going to use it and probably get some more, and I think it may even take over from Tombow because the nib is quite thin. So I've cut my papers, roughed up the edges with my distressing tool, crumpled them a bit because I'm into that at the moment, And now I'm just doing a technique I learned from Maggie Holmes years ago, and you can put some foam squares or pop dots in between your layers just to lift them up a bit. So adding my adhesive, I'm using 2 types of adhesive on the one. I use double-sided tape because it holds things down immediately, and then I use a liquid adhesive so that in the future, if the double-sided tape fails, which I've noticed it has, probably after about, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, I've noticed things have come off. If I use the 2, then I know for sure they're going to stick now and in the future. So just going through the die cut pack, and I just absolutely adore cocoa vanilla die cuts. I love the texture of the paper that they're cut on, and they're just so beautiful. I decided to stay away from florals, although I have one there that I try to make work, just because it gets a bit lost with the beautiful heart details on my background. And I think in the end, the hearts really become the embellishment on this layout. So I've pulled a little ticket. I did think about using that Living the Dream because it truly has been a dream. I'm using a couple of the enamel dots to point out my name, myself, in the photo. Yeah, that's all I use with the enamel dots. I've got the butterflies that I think will look really sweet, and I try to use a flare badge, but I can't make it work, mostly because I don't want to cover anyone's face. I want to remember this moment forever. And that little banner piece says "Don't forget." And then when I pulled this collection out, I knew that I had to use this little phrase, "the best," because it truly has been the best design team experience to date. I've really loved meeting you ladies, getting to know you, chatting with you, and I really do feel like I've made such lovely lifelong friends. And I hope one day that some of us will get the chance to meet in person. I just think that would be awesome. So yeah, also I just want to say, Virginia, thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me on the team for a year. Like I said, it was a hard decision to leave. I just want to say, Virginia, I don't want to cry, I don't want to get too emotional, but I'm so proud of you as a New Zealander who's producing products at a worldwide scale. I just think you're incredible. I love your style, I love your leadership, I love your support in the team, and yeah, I'm just so blessed to call you friend, and I hope to meet you one day once we can come out of our bubbles and travel around. Yeah, I know we'll meet in the future, and I just really look forward to that moment. And yeah, that's probably pretty much all I have to say. I'm just putting some glue on the centers of these butterflies and I bent them to start with, and then I'm just letting the wings just pop up naturally over those hearts. And then adding that "Don't forget," because I've put my journaling on the heart. I did think about doing it on a label, but in the end I like it there on the heart. It's quite subtle, and it's really only journaling that I will probably read because this will go into my album. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for all your support with my Confessions of a Paper Addict layouts, and do make sure you check out the shop. I know I will be from now on. Take care, guys.